That old bastard. Right, let's go.
Hope you weren't talking about me there, Frank.
I was.
This is Umar for BoxNation. I'm joined by Frank Warren on this Friday afternoon. Frank, hope you're feeling a little bit better. I know you were a bit under the weather.
Yeah, I am. Thank you, mate. Keep catching these bloody coughs and colds that are floating around.
Okay, well, good to see you still going strong. Someone who still is going strong actually is Derek Chisora. I caught up with him in the week at a Russian sauna, which was quite an interesting experience. But yeah, he's obviously right up for this, which is in a week's time against Otto Wallin in Manchester. But you can also hear the emotion in him, Frank. It's going to be an emotional night next Saturday.
Oh, it is. There's no doubt about it. It's his last fight in the UK, 49th fight, and he wants to get the magical 50. But this is an important fight to him for him against Otto Wallin. Wallin is a good fighter. 27 fights. He's only lost two of those against two former world champion and two former world champions. So he's fought at the highest level. And for Derek, I think it's going to be a tough fight, but it's one he needs to win. He wants to win, and I think it's going to be an emotional night. We've done really well with the tickets, big turnout for him. So I'm delighted for him. And I hope he puts in a performance and comes away with a W. And this is the bloke that I said 2 years ago should have retired. Proved me wrong.
Well, you said you've done well on the tickets. So do you expect this to be one of the best atmospheres we've seen in a British arena for a while?
Well, look, the arena's fabulous. The Co-op Arena is just, it's a state-of-the-art venue. I think it'd be amazing. Excuse me. Every seat is a good seat. The sight lines are brilliant. I mean, it's a fabulous, fabulous stadium, and I think everybody's gonna have a good time there with this fight.
Okay.
Excuse me.
It's all right. We know stylistically Otto Wallin is quite a tricky operator, southpaw. Probably, if you're picking someone for Derek, not the ideal opponent, but we know with Derek Chisora, we saw it in his last fight against Joyce. Every time he gets in that ring, he does give everything. He leaves it all in the ring, Derek.
Well, he does. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he's very aptly named, isn't he? War. So that's what he comes to do. He comes for war, and he's in a good place at the moment. I've spoken with him. I mean, we've been working together for the last couple of fights there, and he's a much obviously he's got older. He's more mature, I suppose, like all of us. But he's a more mature outlook now. Excuse me. But he knows this is a must win fight for him.
Mm. Obviously, it's been a 17, 18-year journey. I know you've had your ups and downs with Derek throughout that journey, but he started with you all those years ago. He's been an amazing servant to British boxing, really, some of the nights he's given us. How do you look back at Derek's career, Frank?
I think every fight he's ever been involved with, he's given everything he can. I mean, listen, he's a guy he's got losses on his record, but he's one of those fellas who despite the losses, has overcome them. He's fought the highest level. He's fought all of the best heavyweights of this century. He's fought them all, and as I say, gives everything he's got. He had a great fight with Usyk. Really good fight with Usyk, and his win against Joe Joyce. I mean, that was a tremendous fight from both of them. A fabulous fight to watch for the fans, and he prevailed in that in a fight that he went in as an underdog. And as I said, I didn't even think he should be there. I thought he should have retired.
You mentioned the Usyk fight. He even gave Vitaly Klitschko a good fight, to be fair.
Listen, I did the fight, with him. I made that fight, and I got to tell you something. That there was nothing in that fight as such for a big part of it. And then Klitschko pulled away, but the last round, he won that last round, and he gave Klitschko all the problems he could handle. That was probably Klitschko's toughest fight since he fought Lennox Lewis. I don't know if anybody can remember back when that fight took place, but I'll tell you what, he gave Klitschko a lot of problems. I remember Klitschko pulled out of a fight with him on the eve of the fight.
Yeah.
And I always felt that was done for a reason. I just feel that Emmanuel Stewart weren't up for the fight.
Mm. Yeah, Don Charles has told me that before about that story. Yes, but next Saturday night, Frank, with Otto Wallin, I said he's a tricky operator. What's your gut saying? How does this pan out?
I think it's a tough fight for Derek. I think it's a tough fight. I think you get to a certain stage in your career where every fight is a tough fight. But he trains hard, he's worked hard. I mean, you see him at the bathhouse, was it yesterday?
Wednesday, yeah,
Um,
he was in good shape. Good shape.
Wednesday, he's in tremendous shape. But you've got to be in good shape when when you get into that age. I mean, it's a tough business. And Wallin's a, Walling's also a very, very good on top fighter. Otto's a good on top fighter. So he's got to take the fight out of him. Takes the fight out of him, then Derek can prevail.
It's going to be an interesting week next week because there's actually not too much friendliness between them two. Derek said some things to Otto before he ring walked against Joshua. Obviously, Derek and Anthony are good pals, etc. And there's been a bit of spite since then. And I watched the face off that Queensberry filmed, which was a very good watch. If you haven't already seen it, go to Queensberry's channel and have a look at it. The face off between Derek and Otto. It could get quite tense next week, Frank, in Manchester.
Well, I'm sure it will be. It'll be more on edge, fight week, like most fighters. When you're getting towards fight night, it can be edgy, for various reasons. People react in different ways when they're in that scenario, and I've seen lots of people lots of fighters over the years. Fight week, they're looking for the mental edge. They're looking to try and get one over the other guy. But you know what? It's when the first bell goes what counts. It'll be interesting next week. I'm sure it'll be a bit of fun as well. But once that first bell goes and they got to get down on it, that's what counts.
Yeah. Last one on Derek. I know he's got his 49th fight next Saturday, but he wants to get to 50. And during my interview with him on Wednesday, Dillian White FaceTimed him, which was a bit of a surprise. And they kind of hinted at having a trilogy, and Dillian has said he said he wants to do that. Is that something you'd be open to making?
Yeah, look, I just want to see. I want to see Derek come through this fight, and then let's see where we go. Dillian, I understand is okay to box now in this country, so I've been told. That's that fight's there to be made. I'm sure it's one to be made, no doubt about it. But he's got to get through Wallin first, and I'm telling you, don't overlook that. Wallin is no mug.
Absolutely. That is next Saturday, live on TNT Sports at the Co-op Live in Manchester. Just a few more on the heavyweights, Frank. I watched the face-off on DAZN between Dubois and Park. Obviously, you and Andy Lee were in the room as well. Andy and Joe were really trying to get in Daniel's head, talked about the Joe Joyce fight, the Usyk fight. What did you make of that face-off when you were in the room there?
You're right. What you're saying, they were trying to get under his skin. There's no doubt about that. But he's matured a lot. He's a different guy in the last 18 months. There's no doubt about that. He's matured, obviously, physically more. Matured. He's always been strong. He's always been a good fighter. But mentally, he's become more matured and more stronger. And he's got more to say for himself. And yeah, it was that face-off across the table. Andy was trying to, was probing him and trying to hit a nerve, as was Joe. But he stood his ground and told him, "Look, you heard what he said. I'm going to knock you out." That's his mantra. That's what he's got in his head. So it's going to be a great fight. I think be a great fight while it lasts. No doubt about that. While it lasts, because I think the way these two fight, it'll be nothing. This is not going to be a distance fight. It'll be bombs away. That's what it'll be. They'll feel each other out a bit, and then they'll be letting those shots go. Because you've got to beat Daniel, you've got to be his boss, and to do that, you've got to let big shots go, and that's why it get entertaining.
Listen, we look forward to that. That is quickly approaching as well, Feb 22nd in Riyadh. Just some updates on a few heavyweights, please, Frank. We can kind of group it together. I noticed in each governing body, you've got a Coley really high rank with the WBC. In the BA, Fabio Wardley's number one. In the BO, Moses Italmes highly ranked. And obviously with the IBF, you've got the champ in Daniel Dubois. So is that kind of the strategy we're going to, position the other three guys for 3 world titles in individual bodies, and then you can have the whole heavyweight division wrapped up? Frank?
And Big Bang.
Who's in a fight with Caballero?
Yeah, with Caballero. That's for the
BC.
That'd be BC. So yeah, well, look, we've invested heavily in that division. We didn't do it just overnight. We've worked hard on it for a while, and the guys are all in position. Like I keep on banging on about, with this heavyweight division. All these guys have a great opportunity to make some big money in big fights. And it's all about jostling and getting yourself into that mandatory position, because those belts are that you're either going to have mandatories or they're going to fragment. That's what will happen. So everybody's got to be in place for the big fights. And there's some great fights to be made. And there's a unification fight to be made there. If Daniel comes through, or even if Joe Parker, but hopefully Daniel comes through. It's a great rematch between him and Alexandra Usyk. It's another great fight. It's a fabulous fight. So that division is very sexy, and all our guys are in good positions, and they're in good positions because they're in good fight. They're being put in good fights. And we're announcing some really good fights next week. Sorry, not next week. The week after. You're going to love some of the heavyweight fights. They're going to be brilliant.
Is that your kind of DAZN schedule from April onwards?
It'll be some of the fights that are taking place, but be prepared. Get ready to go and buy some tickets. You're going to see some fabulous fights.
Okay. Can I just ask, on those announcements, does that include the likes of Fabio Wardley, Moses Talma, Okoli, etc.?
All of them. All of them. They're all ready to fight. They're all chomping at the bit. They're waiting to get in the ring. We've got a great schedule when we come to the end. Our last 3 months or 2 months now with the zone. Sorry, with
TNT.
With TNT. The last couple of months were a fabulous fight card. Derek's one, then we got the brilliant one with Ryan Gardner. And that's a cracking fight, him and Jimenez. I'm really looking forward to that one. We've got some fabulous fights, and then we got Nick Ball up in Liverpool. Really good, solid cards.
Okay, so it's the week after Chisora Wallin, that announcement, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Frank, obviously, April 26th, Ring Magazine and Turkey Al Sheikh His Excellency announced the Tottenham card. I just wanted to pick up on an undercard fight that was kind of leaked, that was trying to be made, was Adam Azim and your guy Pierce O'Leary. We know Adam Azim's in action tomorrow night, of course, but I heard that fight was offered to him. Just tell me from your side what happened there.
Well, it's been offered and we want it. And Pierce O'Leary is a very good fighter, as is Adam. What a cracking fight. Why wouldn't we want to do that? Let's do it. And they're British fighters. Irish British fighters, but they're fighters that are really well established over here. And I'm sure it's a fight everybody'd like to see.
So you're saying you can still do that for April 26th?
That's a fight that can be done. If somebody wants to pick up the phone to us, we'll do it. Not a problem.
Can I just ask what the reason was given to yourselves about why that fight wasn't done?
Probably because I don't fancy it. That's the reason why.
Okay. What do you make of Adam Azim?
I like him. I think he's a decent fighter. He's a good fighter. And he's had a couple of good wins lately. But so's Pierce. And Pierce is an excellent fighter as well. It's a good fight. It's a cracking fight. You'd like to see it, wouldn't you?
Definitely. I mean, Pierce has had some viral knockouts. Adam's obviously on a roll. He's a big name here.
I love that fight. And I love, Pierce is on the verge of something really big. And I think him and Adam would be a cracker of a fight.
Okay. The similar situation, obviously, that's been going on for a while and has picked back up with Dalton Smith and Adam Azim. Have you kept up to date with what's been going on?
I only see what, when I have a look and see what's going on, see the stuff, the stuff going backwards and forwards. Yeah. I mean, look, Adam's been touted to be, one of the big prospects, and he is probably one of the big prospects. So these are the guys that he's got to fight to establish himself. That's what you have to do.
It's a good mix there, though, with obviously Adam, Dalton, and Pierce. It's a fantastic.
Providing they all fight.
Well, yeah, of course. Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron too. I'm hearing that we might be back on. Is that true?
Nothing signed yet. look, we've made offers, and we're very, very interested in that fight happening. I know Liam wants it badly.
Okay.
Like I
But
said, whoever pulls up the most money gets the fight.
okay. But when I last spoke to you, it seemed like it wasn't moving anywhere. As things
Well, I'll keep hearing this and that. We'll see. But it's all about, both those fighters want to get well paid for that fight. So there's a lot of intrigue and interest in it.
the last two fights I mentioned there with Adam and Pearson and Ben and Liam, obviously they're Queensberry and Boxer fights to be made there. So for anyone who's got some sort of doubts about you want to be working with Boxer, etc., that's not a thing, is it, Frank?
I work with my fighters. And if my fighters have got to fight another promoter's fighter, and I think it's in their interest, and I think they're winnable fights, get on.
Business, I guess, isn't it?
Never been any different. I mean, look, we don't stop our fellas fighting if they're fights that we want to do, if they're sensible fights for our fighter, if it's a fight that like we talked earlier about with Anto Kakachi, if it's a fight, fights there that I feel, especially where he's at now in his career, we want to make fights that generate a lot of money for him, a lot of income for him, and that's what he wants. Whether it be Nunes or whatever, that's the business we're in. But he's and these other fights, these are all fighters who are sort of vying for the position to be the next big thing. Then fight each other, get those fights on. There's some great paydays there for them, some great fights to be made, and as I always say, it's not the end of the world for the losers.
Yeah. Frank, since we last spoke, it has become public knowledge that one of the substances that Dennis failed for was Tren, which was one of the strongest steroids out there. This process with Dennis, when does it move forward?
When the date comes through from UCAD for the hearing.
Okay. And what was your reaction to the substance?
My reaction to it is it's not something I'm going to discuss in public for obvious reason. It has to take, like I've said from day one, it has to take its course. We're in the hands of UCAD, and UCAD had to set the date for the hearing. Until then, he's not allowed to box because the Boxing Board of Control suspended him. And we're waiting for the results. I spoke with him a couple of days ago, waiting for the results of his B test, which haven't come back yet. When they come back, they'll also be submitted as well. And depending on those results, we'll determine he'll have to either give an explanation why it's in his system or not.
Okay. All right, cool. Frank, is there anything else you want to mention before we close off? Obviously, a big week next week, as I said, in Manchester. Anything else you want to add?
No, it's exciting times, and I'm also looking forward, a couple of weeks later for the big show in Riyadh. Have you seen the latest video, the promotional video?
No, I haven't.
Oh, wait till you see it. Wait till you see
I
it.
don't think it's come out yet, so.
No, I've seen it. The Better Beer and Bivol video is sensational.
We keep saying that with these promos, though.
This one, I've got to say, this one is very clever. It's really, really good. You'll enjoy it. Everybody will enjoy it. Sets the scene for the fight. The fight's going to be a great fight. And the undercard is fabulous. I mean, we talked about Daniel and Joe Parker, but the whole card is it's a phenomenal card, and I can't wait for it. So we've got some, boxing's in a really good place. Really good place. Queensberry's in a really good place at the moment. Fighters are doing well. We're involved in some massive shows, and we've got more to announce the week after next. So it's good times.
Frank, in that announcement, actually, does that include a 5v5 with Eddie in that announcement or not?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, but that is something that we'll see.
These are the shows that Queensberry will be promoting on the Zone, and the Riyadh season shows will be announced in due course.
Okay, but we are going to get another 5v5, yeah?
There'll be another 5v5. There's no doubt about that. But there's some really, really, it's just fabulous time. It's some great stuff. We love the 5v5s. Bring them on.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Frank, appreciate your time. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you in Manchester next week.
Look forward to it, Umar. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.